Just sick of it. I'm sick of all of it. All of the freaking YouTube comments I get. All the negative stuff I have to read on this channel. You should really not talk over the trailer while it's playing. You should lose some freaking weight. You're fat. Your neckbeard's weird. You should get a girlfriend. I bet your dick is small. It's probably like a Tic Tac. Probably can't satisfy me sexually. You don't know shit about anything. You're dumb and you're ugly and your breath smell. While all that stuff is true, you don't need to tell me about it, okay? So you know what? I'm sick of it anyway. So you're done. All right. I got this. I got this pen, this mechanical pencil, and I'm gonna write your ass's names in this death note. That's right. I got one. You know why? Because I'm a YouTube guy. Everybody in YouTube gets one. It's for comments. Okay. It's true. Believe me. I'm going to write your name in because I know your face too. I know everything about you. I know who you are. Alright? You're fucking dead. Enjoy that plane ride, you motherfucker. Yeah. It's just a Zelda book. Death Note ain't real. YouTube comments are though. Those are real. Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to my review for the Netflix American adaptation of the classic anime and manga series Death Note. Let's get started. I was actually one of the few people out there that was actually really looking forward to this movie, and not in a, oh I can't wait to rip it apart way. I was actually legitimately looking forward to it, which I could say anything at this point because I'm sure everybody has turned the video off right now. They're like, oh, I wanna hate something with someone else. Let's see what this fat neckbeard says about the movie. What, he likes it? I'm out. And, you know, sorry, but I was actually looking forward to it. Did I like the movie? I didn't say that yet. But I was looking forward to it. Mostly because I really like the director, Adam Wingard, who's made some really great movies in the past, especially The Guest. Highly recommended. Go check that movie out. And, of course, I really like the anime that it's based on. Of course, it's also based on manga. I never read that. I watched the anime. Binged watched it, actually. I watched it right after the first teaser for this movie came out. And everybody was like, oh my god, they screwed it up. Oh, 45 seconds of that trailer made me realize that this is going to be a terrible movie. So, I had to watch it after all that negative press that movie got from all these people that were just like, it's not good, I hate it, it sucks. I mean, I gotta see it now, so I watched the anime, and I actually loved that anime. I thought it was great. Now, I won't talk too much about the anime right here, because most likely I'll be talking about it a lot when I compare some of the characters from this movie to their anime counterpart, but I'm going to say right here, I really did love the anime until the last few episodes where it starts to drag a little bit, but the characters, especially Light and L, are really compelling. The whole mind games, like trying to outmaneuver one of each other, it's like a chess game really, of these two characters, Light and L, just kind of like trying to figure each other out. Like Light's trying to figure out who L is so he can kill him, and L is trying to figure out who Kira is, who he already figures out that it is Light, but he has to have more proof. And it's really, really interesting. It's a great anime. It's one of those few animes that I watch that doesn't rely just on like crazy visuals and really outlandish characters and just over-the-top action and weird stuff. Like, it's really just a very grounded movie. I mean, not movie, anime. This is a movie. This is an anime. That really focuses on its characters, but still has some outlandish stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's a death god that just floats around and stuff, okay? He eats apples. But it's definitely way less over the top compared to some other stuff. So now, without further ado, here is my review for the 2017 American adaptation of Death Note. I liked it. Sorry. Sorry. I know some people are probably like, oh, I can't wait until he rages. Oh, he's going to hate it. Everybody hates it. I hate it. I haven't even seen it and I hate it. Oh, I'm going to really enjoy this neckbeard talk about how he hates it. And I'm just sitting here like watching it. And I did a reaction for it, actually. A full reaction. It's actually on Facebook if you want to check it out. I just was like, oh, you know, I like that. Okay, that's good. I get it. It's 95 minutes. You have to condense an entire anime series, which is like 37 episodes, into 95 minutes. I get it. When Adam Wingard was tasked to do that, he did still leave it open for a sequel, but the way he ended it could also just be the definitive ending for this Netflix Death Note series, I guess. And I get it. So he had to really condense it, and there's times where it does feel rushed. The pacing is a little bit off. The direction is really solid, but some of the characters are definitely not that interesting compared to their anime counterparts. So I get it. I get the negativity for the most part, but what I saw was not a bad movie. I'm sorry, I cannot sit here and say that's a bad movie, because there is some really quality filmmaking in this. The direction, like I said, is solid. The cinematography is excellent. When it comes to the special effects, they are actually very well done. They're limited, but when they are there, they are great. The practical effects, this movie is very violent. I was expecting that because it's Adam Wingard and he's done some violent movies in the past. But the anime itself isn't really that violent. I mean, you see some blood here and there, but you don't see viscera. And in this movie, it's practical effects. It's real. It's not no CG blood. And man, oh man, at least in the first like 40 minutes of this movie, there is a lot of it. People get splattered against the ground, get hit by cars, and they explode. There's a ladder that goes through a dude's head and it freaking explodes, and there's blood and just little pieces of entrails and brain everywhere. It's great. It really is. If you're a big horror fan and you're like, oh man, I need a gore fix, watch this movie, and you also get a kind of interesting little anime adaptation that is maybe not as good, and not maybe, it is not as good as the original source, but it is interesting enough, especially if you've never watched the anime or read the manga. Then you'll be like, okay, this is kind of interesting. It's a little weird. There's some kind of strange but kind of compelling characters here. I kind of want to know more about this Death Note stuff. You know, I have a feeling that people that haven't watched Death Note and watched this will actually want to watch the anime. Okay, I feel like this is actually more of a benefit than anything else. I know some people are like, oh my god, they ruined Death Note, but it really does feel like it would be a good supplement if you don't want to, you know, like check out Death Note and get into it. If you just want to see what it's all about, then watch this, and then you'll be like, okay, maybe I'll check out the anime, because I actually really dug that. I think it's a solid movie. I really do. Now, do not get me wrong. I don't think this is an excellent movie. I don't. I think it's solid and has some really good parts, and if you never watched the anime, all I'm saying is it's a good supplement. If you don't want to watch the anime, if you don't have 12, 13 hours to spare, and you just want to see what this Death Note thing is all about, 95 minutes, people have that to spare. They can watch it and still not feel like they're spoiled for the anime because it's so different. You know, they can just watch the anime if they really like this movie. Okay? And I feel like some people that don't know anything about the anime will actually enjoy this movie. But there are problems. There are plenty of problems, especially when it comes to the changes they made, which I do not understand some of these changes they made. The main one that really annoyed me is Light. Light himself, who is played by Nat Wolff, who I think is really good in the film. I think pretty much the entire cast is really solid. But Nat Wolff, while good, is not the same Light from the anime, okay? And again, changes are fine, you know, as long as you keep kind of like the core element of Death Note alive for your American adaptation, you can change stuff. I'm okay with that. But this character is way more generic. He's a good guy, I guess. He's killing people. Sure, he's killing a lot of criminals, rapists, and stuff like that. But he's a good guy. In the anime, he's kind of a self-absorbed dickhead in the beginning of the anime before he even gets to Death Note. Like, people love him. He loves himself. He thinks he's the smartest guy in town because he probably is. And then he gets to Death Note, and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to be a fucking god. I'm going to kill all these bad people. And then it just slowly starts turning into like, I'm just gonna kill people that like question me, that say like, oh, Kira, I don't like him, he's dead, he's gonna die. So he becomes an antagonist to the 10th degree. In this, he's like, you know what, we shouldn't kill this person, and stuff like that. He's way more dweebish, and not as smart as the character was originally. And even like, you'll see that in the beginning where he meets Ryuk for the first time. In the original anime, when he meets Ryuk, he's like, whoa, what is that? Oh, it's a death god. Oh, okay. What's up, man? In this, when he sees Ryuk, this giant, spiky, orange-eyed demon, he's like, he runs away, which is exactly what I would do. I mean, that's realistic. But in the original, his character's way more like confident and stuff. Here, he's just like, he's a dweeb. He is. But but that's okay as long as he's a compelling character, and I wouldn't say he is. Again, Nat Wolff does a good job. He does a good job with what he's given. I like that guy. I think he's a good actor, but he cannot pull through when it comes to making this character likable. He's not likable. The girl that plays Mia, who is of course Misa from the original, is good too. I think she is good, but her character becomes more of what Light should have been, I guess, because her character like starts to use the Death Note in a way that Light would from the anime. So I kind of like that they kind of switched the roles here, where Misa or Mia in this movie is kind of like what Light should have been. So she's doing all the heinous stuff that Light would have done, and then in this movie, Light's like, because he has to be the protagonist, he's like, no, why'd you do that? That's evil. We're not evil. We're killing bad people. If you're killing good people, you're the bad guy. I just couldn't stand changes like that, especially when it comes to those two characters when they are together. When Light and Mia are together, I like those two actors. I really do. And I actually like the Mia character in this more than I like the Misa character in the anime, because in the anime, she's like this bubbly pop star or whatever, and she loves Light so much. Ooh, because Light did something for her, and she's just all like goo-goo for that Light penis. You know, she wants him, okay? But in this, it's a little bit different. It's more like a kind of like they both love each other, where in the original, Light didn't give a shit about Misa. Here, Light's like, I love you, and Mia's like, I love you too. Oh, isn't that nice? It's just a generic-ass romance, which has its moments where it could have been a little bit more interesting, especially towards the end, where, I'm not going to spoil it, but it gets a little bit more deeper with their relationship, especially regarding Mia and how she feels about Light. And especially when they're working together and writing all these names and stuff. I really liked some of it, but for the most part, that romance was not developed at all. Like the first two scenes, they're already like making goo-goo eyes at each other. Is that the term? Goo-goo eyes? Googly eyes? They want each other's body parts inside each other. Wait, no, that's not how sex works. I don't know how that works. Besides the main two characters, I also felt like the story itself, as you would expect for something that's condensed from a 12-hour animated series, is condensed to the point where it feels way too rushed. There's a whole montage of them just like writing people's names in the book and them dying, of course, and there's some horrific violence, like I said, which I enjoyed, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like a montage that's like 3 minutes long, and then it cuts away and it's like, hey, we've killed about 400 people. I'm like, the fuck? Like, the montage made it seem like they killed maybe a couple dozen. You know, not over 400 at this point. Like, and now Kira's a big thing, of course. Kira's their code name, their god name, I guess. And here, I don't think they really call it a god. I think they mention it a couple times. But they don't do it as much as Light in the anime does, where he mentions, like, I am a god! Like, Jesus Christ. But in this, there is a lot of just condensing the story, and that's one of the main examples that I can think of. One other negative I have, even though I will say this is also like a positive too, which I know is weird, Lakeith Stanfield's performance as L, who is the detective that tries to figure out who Kira is, his performance is really good. I really like him as L, and I really like the subtle little differences in his character over his character in the anime, of course. But one thing I didn't like is that towards the end of the film, I'm not going to say what happens, but his character shifts from being kind of like the guy that sits weird and eats a lot of candy and tries to figure out who this guy is in the secret of like a corner of a building or whatever with a computer. He turns into Action Man, where he's just like running through the streets doing parkour and shit. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? I mean, I think in the anime they do explain that he has a lot of training and stuff, but here it just felt like out of nowhere. He's just like doing Terminator runs and shit and jumping over people. And I'm like, what the hell? Now that's a whole lot of negative right there. I've said the main characters aren't likable and the story feels rushed, and I guess the main antagonist, even though I wouldn't call him an antagonist really, but I've even said like he starts to become a little less likable. Why do I like this movie? Well, I feel like even though it's not well paced, it is very well directed. The cinematography is excellent in this movie. It looks gorgeous at times. It's very well shot. Even though the screenplay itself isn't the best, some of the dialogue actually did make me laugh. And I actually did like some of the changes when it comes to Light's reactions. Like I said before, where he sees Ryuk and he just starts screaming and like, fuck, 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 he's hiding under a desk. I actually enjoyed that more than just like some guy like Yeah, that's right. A death god works for me. I don't know. It felt a little cheesy in that movie. I mean, in that show. Here, it felt more realistic. That's how someone would react. And it made me laugh. If you watch that reaction I did, I laughed pretty hard. And there's some moments here and there, like, that were actually pretty funny. I also really, really dug the hell out of course, Ryuk's character, who is great in the anime, but a lot of the time he's in the anime, he's in the background and he says one thing here, and then a few episodes later he shows up again. Here you have Willem Dafoe doing the facial animation and the voice of this character. He has no idea what Death Note is. He already admitted this before he actually started working on the movie with Adam Wingard and everybody. He had no idea what it was, and he nails the role of Ryuk. This is Ryuk. When you watch this movie, I think the universal thing that will come out of this movie that is a positive from everybody will be Ryuk and how good Willem Dafoe was as Ryuk. I love Willem Dafoe, and the character he portrays is excellent. He knocked it out of the park. He's really funny, not only that, but he's really scary, which I don't think he really was in the anime. Here, there's times where he's just in the shadows and you don't really see his face, and you just see his like bright orange eyes and the spikiness of him, and he's like saying all these creepy things and stuff. He's also pretty funny. Of course, he eats his apples, you know. Ryuk is a really interesting character, and I really liked his portrayal of the character. So high marks to Willem Dafoe. Even some smaller characters get a little bit of time, and they actually do a pretty good job. Like the guy that plays Watari, who is the assistant to L's character, is really good in this movie. I also really, really liked Shea Wiggum's performance as Light's father. I've always liked Shea Wiggum. I mean, he's been in a couple movies recently. He was in Kong Skull Island. He was in Cop Car. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He was in the original Machete, and I think one or two of the Fast and Furious movies. He's been in a lot of stuff, but he's not a name, and I really want him to be a name because that guy is great, and I really liked his performance here, and I've always liked him. I think that guy's awesome, and if he becomes big, I want everybody to know that I knew about him first. He's mine. Shea Wiggum's mine. I'm a fan of that guy. Him and Frank Grillo, when they become big, this guy, I was the original fan of both of them. So I guess I could wrap this review up by saying, overall, there are problems with this movie. I get that. There are definitely problems, and some of the changes I did not dig myself. Some of the writing is a little iffy, but I did really like some of the performances, some of the different character changes that they made. I really did dig the way the movie looked, the way it was directed. I did like the violence and some of the gore, some of the death scenes. Those were really nice. Some of the more horror elements, some of the creepier elements were Ryuk. Willem Dafoe's performance is excellent. And everybody else did a really good job, even if their characters were not as compelling as they were originally. I still really did enjoy this movie, even with some of the complaints I have. Like, it goes by really quick. It doesn't really spend too much time on certain things, and the two main characters are not as compelling as they were in the original. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about Light and Misa or Mia. I'm talking about Light and L. L is still compelling here. He's just not as compelling as he was in there. Again, I chopped that down to just it being chopped down, I guess. It just being chopped down to a 95-minute movie. The original, Light is a much more compelling character, even if it was the same length as this, because in here, he's more dweebish, okay? In the original, he's that character. He's more compelling because he's that character. We don't see that character much. He's like Walter White from Breaking Bad. He's a dickhead, but you want to see him prevail so you can see what dickheadish things he will do in the future. It's a solid movie. I said that plenty of times. I know it's getting repetitive, but I do think for what it is worth, and for all the negative press it's getting, I don't see it. I really don't. It's different, sure, but it is well filmed. It's well executed. I liked it. I'm sorry, I did. So overall, I'm going to give this movie a 27 out of 40. There you go. Not a high score, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed a lot about it. So there you go. That is my review for the highly controversial Death Note movie. I know it was a long review, but I had to talk about it. I mean, this has been something that I've been looking forward to for months, and sorry for the I don't know, messy review. Oh my god, I'm like sweating and stuff. It's so hot in my room. I have to turn off the AC just to do this so you don't hear a in the background. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you didn't, please tell me in the comments that I'm a neckbeard and I should kill myself and I have a small dick and I don't please people sexually and, do all that stuff. Because I might not have a Death Note now. But trust me, I will get one in the future. And I know what you fucking look like. I fucking know.